Robot vacuums. It seems like each brand is coming out with a new model on a weekly basis. And each of those new models has crazy new features, trying to outdo the other brand. It truly is nuts. But we, the consumers, we're the ones that benefit from all that competition, right? Well, today we're talking about one of those new robot vacuums. This one's from Eufy. It's the E28 Omni. Let's get to it. What up, everybody? George Langabeer here. Today, we are talking about the Eufy E28 Omni robot vacuum. Now, not only is this new model a robot vacuum, but it also has a deep cleaner attached, which is very unique. I'm gonna tell you all about this thing. I'm gonna unbox it. I'm gonna talk about the setup. I'm gonna talk price and specs. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Eufy app, and I'm gonna give you my full review, pros and cons. Now, Eufy sent me this vacuum just to try out. This is not a sponsored video, but does it really matter? Because I'm always gonna give you my unbiased review and tell it like it is. Let's get started with the unboxing. All right, let's open this bad boy. First up, we got a quick start guide. Kind of some detailed instructions to get started. Some safety information. Then you've got the deep cleaner. Now this attaches to the base station. It's portable, so you can take it somewhere else and plug it in. You've got the hose and then the water bay. And so this not only sprays water onto stains, but then also vacuums the stains. Pretty awesome to have that attached and available. All right, then we got the vacuum itself. You've got the roller mop. Then you've got the two main brushes in the middle. Those two brushes are going to help you prevent hair tangling. Then you got the two side brushes. I'm gonna call them front brushes because they're more in the front. One extends out to get corners and one is stationary. Then you've got the remainder of the base station. So that's where the vacuum would go, and that's where you would attach that deep cleaner I just showed you. There's the dust bag. This is the tray that attaches to the base station. So that's where the vacuum will sit when it's not in use. So there we go. There's that detachable deep cleaner, the base station, and the tray. Put your vacuum on there, you're good to go. All right, now that we've unboxed, let's quickly talk about setup. You're gonna place the vacuum wherever you wanna put it in your home. You're gonna get the Eufy Clean app and sign up for an account if you haven't already. Then that app is gonna take you through step by step on how to add the vacuum to the app. Then it's gonna do a quick mapping where it goes through your home and gets that initial map. Then you're gonna wanna fully charge the vacuum, and you can fine tune your settings while you're at it, and then you're ready for your first cleaning. Moving on to price and specs, from now until April 23rd, you can go to the pre-order site and unlock up to 15% savings, and you just have to spend $9.90 to do that. So check that out. I'll put any affiliate links in the description if you're interested in purchasing or pre-ordering, and I'll also put any discount codes if they're available. Talking specs, this vacuum has a HydroJet floor washing system. That system cleans the rolling mop up to 360 times per minute. It removes dirty water from the roller and replaces it with fresh water. And it mimics hand scrubbing with downward pressure to remove stubborn stains. We've got 20,000 PA of hardcore suction power. And this is pretty cool. We have the Flexi One detachable deep cleaner head. So basically what this is, it's a deep cleaner that's attached to the base station, and it's portable. You can lift it up and take it somewhere else, plug it in, and deep clean whatever you need to deep clean. It's awesome for removing stubborn stains in carpet, upholstery, that kind of thing. And it deep cleans by spraying water to soften and soak the dirt. And then the vacuum on that detachable deep cleaner removes the softened dirt. And it also has a self-cleaner. There's a second button on the hose. You just press that when you're done, and it self-cleans the hose. Moving back to the vacuum, we have the duo spiral detangling brushes. These are two brushes on the bottom of the vacuum, and because there's two of them, it prevents hair detangling. Now this vacuum has two brushes, but one of them is called the corner rover arm, and it extends to get deep into corners. Let's talk obstacle avoidance. This vacuum has a self-developed algorithm, which basically makes it like a self-driving car. With AI technology and RGB visual recognition, this thing can detect over 200 different objects. It has an LED light for low light situations. And then we've got smart dirt detection. It recognizes over 30 of the most common stains. And when it encounters these situations, it remops automatically. And then it displays those stains and gives you a cleaning summary in the app. Let's talk about carpets. This has got smart carpet cleaning. You can avoid carpets altogether. You can also increase the suction power when it reaches a carpet. And when it does reach a carpet, it'll automatically lift the mop. Let's talk the all-in-one base station. You've got auto refilling, auto detergent adding. It's also got auto emptying, and the dust bag will hold up to 75 days worth of maintenance-free cleaning. It also auto washes the mop, and it dries the mop using intelligent temp control. And the station also has auto dirty water collection, so when you're mopping, it collects the dirty water. And this is exciting because this is already right out of the box. This baby supports Matter. So from day one, I had this vacuum in Apple Home. That's amazing. But you can also use it with Lady A from Amazon and Google Home. All right, now let's talk about some of the highlights of the Eufy Clean app. Here we go. There's my map, my full layout of this apartment. I can edit the map if I wanted to. You can go map editor or map display. So I could do 2D or 3D, the room types, the room name, the obstacles, that would all be there. I go back to map editor. I can merge areas or merge rooms. I can divide rooms. I can rename. I can do no-go zones. And I can do carpets where I can manually enter a carpet, although I find this has great carpet detection. If I go back, here you can see on the home screen down below, I can do just a cleaning if I wanted to manually. I could do common, I could do home, I could clean by room, or I could clean by zones. And then right below that, I can do the mode, whether it's just the mop or just the vacuum or both. And then if I hit start, of course, it'll start cleaning. The settings in the top right, there's my vacuum. So you've got your base station task. You can make it go home, you can wash the mop, you can dry the mop, you can empty the dust, you can do all those things manually. Base station setting. Here you've got your auto drying, your drying mode, your auto empty, your auto mop washing, auto add detergent. You can toggle some of those things on or off, or it'll tell you which mode you're in. Going back, you've got the cleaning history. That would show you all the different times you've used the vacuum. You've got your portable deep cleaner section. That'll give you some information on that portable deep cleaner. You can create a schedule. You can manage your map. You've got your cleaning preferences. So you got the Boost IQ. While cleaning, RoboVac will automatically increase suction power when it detects carpet. You can turn that on. You've got your different carpet cleaning modes, vacuum only or carpet avoidance. Then you've got auto return cleaning. When the low battery prevents cleaning from being completed, the robot will return to the station and resume cleaning at the previous position after reaching sufficient charge. And then you've got more settings. You've got do not disturb, you've got a pet mode, you've got a child lock. That's where you can do your firmware update. And then you've got some device info, which is general info about the actual vacuum. All right, that's the basics of the Eufy Clean app. All right, let's move on to my review. What do I think of the E28 Omni from Eufy? Let's start with the pros. And the first pro is my favorite pro, the Matter integration and using this in Apple Home. Let's go to the Apple Home app and I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's my Eufy vacuum right there. Beautiful. I can start cleaning. If I go to the bottom left, you got quick, low noise, deep clean, automatic. Go to the settings on the bottom right. There's your battery level, what room it's in, all the usuals in Apple Home, but most importantly, it's there, and I can use our favorite voice assistant to use this vacuum. Another pro is that 20,000 PA of suction power. This thing did not flinch at any spill I gave it. I got Rice Krispies on this carpet as an example. Man, it just plowed through it and sucked it up. It didn't blow it all over the place. There were like 4 little Rice Krispies left out of that big pile. That's pretty impressive. But I did this several different times in several different ways, and it was just a beast each time. To go along with that, another pro is it did an excellent job with spills. You can see here that I spilled some milk on the floor on purpose, and it just went through it no problem. And it made sure that spill was gone. And it was a pretty big spill. And again, I tested it a few different times. Each time, it was a beast with the mop as well. The Eufy Clean app and the options in the app, that's a pro. You can keep it basic, or you can deep dive into the settings, whichever you choose. So you got a little bit for everybody, but either way, it makes it nice and intuitive and easy to use, so I like it. The detachable deep cleaner. So I've got these cushions out in my terrace. Now, even though we covered them, they got completely nasty over the winter. And I've been trying to think of a way to clean them. And man, this vacuum just came at the right time. So I took that deep cleaner out there and it cleaned them beautifully. And we're talking, had stained rust, dirt, just nastiness. And now they look like they didn't even go through the winter at all. So that deep cleaner is awesome. It's awesome that it's got the self-cleaner. So you hit that second button, it cleans out the hose. I really like the deep cleaner. And I gotta be honest, I was preferring vacuums with the hand vac. So when I saw the deep cleaner, I was like, that wasn't really exciting to me. But man, as soon as I thought of those cushions, this just became my best friend. And it's cool that this vacuum has two side brushes. They say side brushes, but they're actually in the front of the vacuum. Now, one is stationary, one has that extension arm. So that's pretty awesome because a lot of vacuums just have one brush. Moving on to my cons, and this first con was pretty frustrating for me personally. I've got these black mats all over the place, in the bathrooms, the kitchen, the terrace, basically anywhere where we could come in or drip water, just basic mats. And they're very flat. But the one in particular in my bathroom, this vacuum got tripped up on that mat every single time I ran it. And that's very frustrating to me because that means I could never leave and trust that the vacuum was going to get through an entire cycle, because it wouldn't. Now, for some reason, it was just the one bathroom, because I've got like 6 of these mats everywhere else, and it didn't have a problem with the rest of them. Now, a lot of robot vacuums have the disc for the mops. This has the roller mop, and I think in particular, the roller mop was having a problem with this one mat for some reason. But again, the fact that I can't leave this vacuum, that was a pretty big con for me. You want it to run automatically. That's the key to a robot vacuum, and I can't trust it because of this one stupid mat. And yes, I could make it an obstacle in the map, but every other robot vacuum I've tried goes over that mat no problem, so I shouldn't have to do that. Another con is when this sucker is doing its base station activities, like the dust and cleaning the mop, it gets pretty freaking loud compared to other robot vacuums I've tried. Now, is that necessarily a huge con? No, but it's just a little annoying. I don't know if you had kids sleeping or napping or whatever, this sucker gets a little intense. So I call that a con. Another con would be the mop and edges or underneath cabinets and things like that. Because it's a roller mop, it's not like other vacuums that have the little disc mop pads that can extend and get into corners. This one doesn't extend left or right, so it doesn't do that. So I had a little problem with it mopping under my cabinets in the kitchen, things like that. Now let's talk about a couple things that were kind of pros and cons. Obstacle avoidance. Now you can see here I set up a little obstacle course and it did very well avoiding the obstacles. But for some reason, sometimes it just all of a sudden got a little clumsy and it would just bump into things. Nothing bad, nothing horrible, but a lot of the vacuums I test just completely avoid everything. This one sometimes would just ram something, and lightly, mind you, but it would still do that. So overall, the obstacle avoidance was a pro, just sometimes it got a little clumsy. And going along with the obstacle avoidance, my kitchen chairs. Now, sometimes it would go in and clean beautifully underneath them. I've got 4 of them. It would go in and navigate them beautifully, but sometimes it would just try to ramp the bottom rails. So again, for some reason, like 98% of the time, obstacle avoidance was wonderful, but then just the other percent of the time, it just gets rogue and goes crazy. But again, not a huge deal, but it did happen. Now let's talk about the duo brushes on the bottom of the vacuum that are supposed to prevent hair detangling. Now I've said this before, it might not look like I've got a hair problem, but the wife, the daughter, they shed like crazy, so we got hair all over the place. Now each time I tested this, the duo brushes did just great. So they did their job as advertised. There were just a couple times you can see here that I got some hair around the one side brush. It didn't stop it from operating or anything, but it did get tangled, and it was just another bit of maintenance when it was done with the cleaning. So not a huge deal, and again, the duo brushes did just great. Never got a single tangle, and I tested this several different times. It was just the side brush on a couple occasions, and when that happened, it was a lot of hair that I was using. Now, one last thing I want to mention just for full disclosure. Now, keep in mind, this vacuum wasn't released yet when I got it. It might have been a pre-production unit. So they do different firmware updates a lot of times when we're helping them testing all those different creators. So I can't hold this against them. But while I had this vacuum, there was a firmware update and I immediately got it like I thought I should. And after that firmware update, for some reason, the vacuum would come out, go about 10 feet, and then immediately say that it needed to go back and wash the mop. It would go back and wash the mop, then turn around, go another 10 feet and say the same thing, and just in a vicious cycle. And it was unusable for like a week. So I just want to say that for full disclosure. Now, Eufy is great about working with us creators when something like that happens. I told them that what was going on, and I don't know if anybody else had this issue out there, but I did. And they responded, and they did another firmware update, and since then, it's been flawless. So again, I'm always going to tell you like it is. I just want to tell you that that happened to me. I don't think it's going to happen to you because again, they responded very well with that firmware update and it's been smooth sailing since. All right, there you go. That's my review of the Eufy E28 Omni. What do you think? Are you a fan of Eufy vacuums? I think it's great that they got so many different options out there, something for everyone, each budget. This one's very unique with that detachable deep cleaner. Man, I loved it on those cushions. It came at the perfect time. My only problem is I'm trying to decide if it's a deal breaker because of that one bathroom mat. But you know, you might not have that issue. This is very specific to this one room. It worked on all my other mats. The obstacle avoidance, those were very minor things. The other things were, you know, firmware related, being maybe a pre-production model. So I can't hold that against Eufy. Overall, I had a great experience other than that one stupid mat. Again, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I appreciate you watching. Your support means the world to me. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, come back for the next one. And until then, peace and love, my friends.